everyone, and welcome back to another Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom video. Today we are going to be doing a full walkthrough of the Great Skye Islands. So this is the very first thing you do in the game after all the cutscenes in the beginning with that zombie Ganon and all that good stuff. You fall into the Great Skye Island. Once you hit the water, you're going to swim over to the little stone stairs off to the left-hand side, and it's going to let you know that you're in the Great Skye Island. Run down these stairs, and there's going to be a bunch of sticks and different things that you can pick up to take out all of the bad guys around the area. Now, don't worry, they are really low levels, so go ahead, take them out with the stick. It'll work, I promise. You can run around and collect a bunch of goodies, but eventually you're going to come up to the right-hand side and you will find this guy who is going to give you your tablet or your slate, similar to the Breath of the Wild game. After he gives you the slate, he's going to tell you a little bit about the area, and then he's going to let you know that there's a secret magical thing that can happen with your hands. So touch the green circle at the bridge and something amazing is going to happen. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to touch this. Link puts his hand on it, and voila, this beautiful bridge just comes out of nowhere for us to use. So now that we have a way to get across this bridge, we are going to run across that to the little island on the other side. And on the right-hand side, you can see that little, I don't know, balcony, if you want to call it that. There's another little green guy up there that will talk to you about like Z targeting and such. You can talk to him if you'd like to hear all of that fancy information. And then he's going to walk over to the edge of the island, so follow him over there. Now that we've followed him over here, you're going to see this little circular pad at the end of the island. And can you guess what we're going to do? Yep, we're jumping. Just keep in mind when you do this that you want to try and hit the water. There's times where I've jumped off and I've landed on the land, and that does not end very well. There's a couple of hot-footed frogs in here you can pick up if you are looking for something to cook up a little bit later in the game. If not, swim to the edge and climb out of the water. So our mission right now is to get to the little waypoint that's on our map, which is pretty much straight ahead from where you were in the water. There's a little staircase that sticks out of the water down below at the bottom of this hill. So you can take everything out if you want, or just run past them if you don't want to. They do give off some good items, so I suggest taking out as many of them as you can. Some of them also carry arrows, so if you're looking for arrows and a bow this early in the game, you can get those. At the bottom of the hill, you're going to see this staircase across the water, so swim across and climb up the staircase. At the top of this staircase, there will be one bad guy for you to take out. Pretty simple. And then we are going to run up to the door and put our hands on the green circle that's in front of us. We are going to get another cutscene about what's going on in the area, and we are going to hear about the shrines that are in the area and what we need to do. So go through the cutscene, and then we are off to our very first shrine.
Yes,
In the distance, you can see the very first shrine that we're going to be going to. It's going to be up around the right-hand corner of these islands, so we are going to head that direction. So now we're at our very first shrine, and this is going to be the Ultra Hand Shrine. So we're going to go inside, there's another cutscene, and then I'm going to speed up the entire walkthrough of this to a reasonable speed, so you should still be able to follow it, but it'll be a little bit quicker than going through it just step by step at a normal pace. Saves you time, and it still explains everything, so let's go. Once you exit the shrine, you're going to come across a couple different areas that look something like this, and the object is that we need to make a device that's going to get us to the bottom of this hill. So we are going to merge together a few of these hooks and these little like crates or wooden whatever, pallets, whatever you want to call them. It can get a little tricky figuring out how to move things around and making sure it's all lined up. So do the best you can, and once you have this hook attached to the center, we're going to go down the hill. Once you're at the bottom of the hill, you're going to find an area that looks like this. We are going to chop down a few trees or get some nearby logs, fuse at least 3 of them together long ways, and then make yourself a little bridge to get across this area. Once you place that down, you should be able to run across. Just be kind of slow about it, because if you run too fast, you'll just fall right off the edge of the logs. Trust me, I've done it. Take it slowly. Don't rush it. Once you're across that bridge, you will find an area that has a fire area, fire pit, cooking area, whatever you want to call it. So if you'd like to cook up some food, now is your chance to do it. I suggest cooking up a few things while you can, because there are going to be some pretty hefty bad guys later on. So take what you can get. We're going to speed this up a little bit while we run through this. So coming out of there, going around the right-hand side, you'll find this little hill with more land on the other side of it. So go down here. There's a few bad guys to take out, which leaves you with a nice size chest to open up. So take those out. They're not too difficult. And then you should be able to open that chest, which will give you some opal. Now keep following along that path. You can see this is where I am on the map. We're going to find more of those carts that we have to build. And on the other side of those carts, or of those railings, there is another shrine. So we're going to put some logs together with some of these hooks and slide down the mountain. Now we're going to slide down, and I know it's a bit repetitive, but you can make a new one, or you can just pick up the one that you have from before, which is what I chose to do. There's really not a whole lot going on this island, so your best bet is to just pick up the little device, whatever you want to call it, that you just made, and attach it to the next, I guess, railing, whatever you want to call this. Attach it to that one and slide down to the next island. Just keep running straight until you come across some more items to make a raft. And this might look a little familiar from some of the trailers, but we'll be at a little beach area, and we are going to put these logs together to make a raft. I decided to cut down a tree to make it 3 wide. I just thought that'd be a little bit easier for me to stand on. I don't know if that's actually true or not. But anyway, yeah, make your raft and then go ahead and pick it up and throw it in the water. Once you reach the other side of this river or whatever, lake, whatever this is, you're going to be able to run up the hill, and the next shrine is right on top of this hill. So this shrine gives us the fuse ability, and this we are going to fuse together a rock and a sword to break through the wall. And then the tricky part, I think, was collecting all of these fire fruits and then using it with the arrows. So to do this, you're going to select your arrow and then click the up D-pad and select what item you want to fuse it with and then shoot it. So it was kind of tricky. I do have a video on this because the written instructions were a little bit confusing to me. I mean, I understand them, but it was kind of confusing. So anyway, there is a treasure chest here on this ledge that you can break it down. And then the key was with the arrow. You're going to open up the door, climb up this ladder, and then there is a bad guy here. So he takes a lot of damage. I went up and just kind of checked out how much damage he took. As you can see, takes a lot of damage. So what I suggest doing is climbing up this ladder in the corner and going behind this little wall until he retreats back into his little circle, and then use the fire arrow combination to hit the leaves that were on the ground, kind of burns them down, and then you're good to go. That was the easiest way for me. Break through the wall, and we are done. After you finish this shrine, you are going to have a little cutscene here or conversation with this guy who tells you about his friends on the other side of the cave who are trying to build some things. He gave you basically a power supply. So you're going to go find his friends on the other side of the cave to see what's up over there. Also, I just want to note down on the right hand side there is this little wall of rocks. You can break that with your fused sword, and there is a treasure chest on the inside. So just a little fun one to find there, pretty easy to get to. And you do get some arrows, which is pretty awesome. So now we're going down to the cave, which is in this location on your map. It's pretty easy to get to from the shrine. You just kind of walk straight down the mountain and you end up in this cave. It'll say Discovery Pond Side Cave. I guess you can probably guess what's on the other side of this cave. These bright bloom seeds that we're picking up right now can be fused with your arrows to basically make a little flower that glows or lights up the pathway. So fuse them with your arrows, shoot them at the ground or at the ceiling or at a wall, and it kind of blooms a little flower, and that flower gives off a lot of light. Work your way down through this cave and you are going to see our friends over here who are just staring at a bunch of things, very confuzzled. They're confused, they don't know what's going on. But that's okay, because we do. Our next task is to build a raft, and before you get all crazy with putting everything on this raft, what I would suggest doing is doing 3 by 3 of the logs and just 1 of the motors in the center. To activate this, you're going to hit it with your sword, and that will start up the motor. I let mine drift the entire way down to this wall, that way I just go right along the wall instead of flying all over the little lake area. If this thing is off just by a little bit, you're going to start spinning in circles or going sideways and all kinds of crazy things. I just found it easiest to let it drift against the wall and just kind of glide along the wall to the other side. Now that we're on the other side of the water, we are going to run up the side of this mountain, and we're going to come to a cave that has a train track on it or a mine car train on it, and we are going to use these little cars to build a mine train. Seems pretty obvious, but here we go. So I'm going to put this guy on the track, and then we are going to attach the fan to it, jump on the inside, hit the fan, and it's going to shoot us through the cave. So now we've got a discovery mine cave. You're going to come to this part here where you run into something. I tried to break it a few different ways. There isn't really a way to break it. It just kind of stops here. So we're just going to walk around it since we can't break it. Now the other thing is, I told you guys about how you can use the bright bloom seeds to light up the cave. You're going to be told about that here. And this is where we are going to use it. As you can see, the cave is very, very, very dark up there. So we are going to light the cave. Once you reach the end of the cave, you are going to be given 3 fans, which is awesome because you can carry those around with you and not have to find a fan if you're in dire need of one. We are going to make one more mine train using those fans that we were just given to slide down the rest of the way. This next island is going to have a little device where you can get even more items. So if you walk up to it and you put the horns in it, if you have any horns in your inventory, you can put them inside of it and it will pop out a special item. I would suggest doing this with all of the construction horns that you've managed to collect so far, just to pick up as many items as you can. And then we are going to do some more building. So to the left of this, you'll see another area to create another mine train. I know it's getting really repetitive, really repetitive, but we are going to be making another one and going down to another island. Now, if you thought you were done with this cart, you are not. You want to jump off of this and pick it up and take it with you. Or you can make another one if you really want. But I suggest taking this one with you, take it off the track, and then hit the motor so it doesn't fly away from you. And drag it over to behind the little cliff that's right in front of us. There's going to be another area yet that we still need to use this. Now the track for this one is broken, so you're going to need to find one of these hooks to merge on to your cart. And we're actually going to swing across this time versus roll across. So attach this to the top of it and then hook your cart onto the railings. So this next part I'm just giving a fair warning on. I may have cheesed this. I'm not 100% sure if this is how everybody does the next part, but this is how I did it. I slid up here and then I decided to keep my cart just in case I was going to need it again because, well, we've used so many of them, so I thought maybe I was going to need them. There's a little covered area over here, and inside you will find a treasure chest, so I suggest getting that first before doing anything else. Now, we need to get up to the next island that's kind of above us, and my guess is you can probably make some sort of hovercraft or something like that, but I decided to fuse a bunch of logs together and 3 carts, and I used this as a ramp. I'm not sure if this is how everybody else is doing it, but this is what I did, and it worked for me. So it's cold up here, so everything you do has to be pretty quick or you've got to have a lot of ways to heal yourself. We are going to get some food that helps us with cold resistance, but just keep in mind, know where you're going, try to do it quickly, and have a lot of food to eat, just in case. I'm going to pick up what I just made and flip it around so I can get up to the next part of the island. Again, I don't know if this is the correct way to do this, but it works for us and it saved me some time if there's a different way that I'm supposed to do it. So anyway, we're going to put this here and then we are going to climb up to the next island. And then we are going to run down along the left-hand side of this. You're going to see a bunch of bad guys. They are beastly, so if you're not ready for a fight, run past them. There is going to be a cave on the right side of the mountain in front of us. Go into that cave, and it's warm in there. Inside the cave, you are going to find some bomb flowers, so you can use these bomb flowers to attach to your arrows and use them as bomb arrows, which is pretty awesome. Go through the cave, which is pretty short, but you are going to run into 2 lakes. Honestly, there's nothing fantastic behind them. They do have treasure chests behind them, but nothing really that important. So if you want to take them out, go ahead. To take them out, you just wait until they open their mouth, hit their tongue on the inside, they'll fall over and keep slashing at their tongue, and then they'll retreat back and you repeat that step a few times and you're done. I would suggest hitting them with arrows in the tongue for the first time, but I ran out of arrows, so I just started throwing weapons at them, which worked as well. This next part is where you're going to want a lot of your food for healing yourself because it is going to take us a little while to get where we're going. You can go ahead and follow where I'm going on the screen. I'm kind of just climbing up and around the side of this mountain and then going down by this waterfall, and you'll see that there's some stairs, a couple of bad guys, and then we finally get to a place where we can make some food. I did try to cook up some of these fire fruits to see if they would do anything. They really didn't do anything that was good for eating. They don't keep you warm. But behind me, in the tree behind me, you can see that there are some other fruits that we can use that will indeed give us some cold resistance, which is what we need. There are a few things on the other side of this island, such as Korok seeds and some random treasure chests if you'd like to get those, but once you have your cold resistance, all you really have to do is go back up to where you came from, and you'll see a waterfall on the side. So you can't swim across this because it is too cold. However, we can go around and get behind the waterfall, and this section that I'm looking at that goes between the 2 blocks of ice can be climbed up as long as you don't touch the ice. So we are climbing all the way up. Once you make it to the top of this hill, you are going to see our 3rd shrine. This shrine is going to give you the ascend power, which is where you can kind of shoot up through the ground or through a platform. You do have to have a platform over top of you, so when you use it, make sure that you're standing underneath of a platform. You hit the L button to go up, and then once you rise through the platform, you will hit the A button. So our task is to get the entire way up to the top of this. After the shrine, you're going to get a cutscene that tells you need to go back to that temple. And what we're going to do to get there is go down to the right-hand side. You're going to see a little log that we can use that ascend to get up through. And we're going to get some armor up here, which is super exciting. So go through the log and there's going to be a treasure chest right here that gives you some awesome resistant pants. So that's great, even though we're kind of through the cold area now. Anyway, go down here and use ascend again to get up to the platform above. And you're going to see some new items, which is super exciting. If you have any horns, you can also trade them in here. Use your hands to move things around, go up with ascend, and then there's going to be another treasure chest up here that gives you the flying wings, which is awesome. So we're going to use these down below. There's a little track, put them on the track, and basically stand on it to fly back down to this temple. We're going to jump off into the water, otherwise you're going to be SOL. So jump into the water and then work your way back over to the stairs to get up to the temple. Now you're going to have a pretty lengthy cutscene up here with Zelda, so we are going to be skipping through all of that to save us some time, but climb up here and you'll be able to get in this time because now you have enough power. So yay for that. And go through the cutscene, and then Zelda is going to give you the recall magic power, I guess, if you want to call that, but recall. So it makes things move in the opposite direction. Looking at this, I'm sure you can tell where this is going. We are going to use recall on these little cogs, or whatever you want to call them, in the background of all of those scenes. So we're going to recall these two, and it gets you to the top where you're going to find the statue that you'll probably recognize from Breath of the Wild. She doesn't do anything but smile at you. There's also a door where you can put your hands on it and try to open it, but you'll find out that you don't have enough energy to open it. So we're going through another cutscene yet again to tell us that there's one more area that we have to go to. So that's, of course, nice and far away. I was checking to see if this did anything after we talked to him, but of course, nothing else has changed. So the good thing is we can travel here. So go ahead and use these shrines to travel, which is something that we couldn't do earlier on in the game. So now we're traveling back to basically where we started for the most part. We're going to exit this cave by going up with ascend, using recall on these cogs or these wheels to jump across. You only have to use it on the one. You don't have to recall the second one because it is spinning in the right direction. We're going through this cave and then we find our very last shrine. This shrine is pretty simple. It's pretty much just all recall. There's really not a lot to it. So you'll see if you use the recall, it will take the items backwards. Even though the water's still moving in the same direction, the item itself moves backwards. So we are recalling on this raft, jumping on it, and then jumping to the next platform. And I wanted to see if I could bring that one the whole way back. So I tried to recall it again, but it didn't work. So anyway, there are new ones that drop down that you do have to use. You can't use a recalled one from the first set. You have to use the ones that drop from this waterfall, otherwise it won't work. So you can see it shows you the path. So it's kind of going to be bouncy, bouncy, bouncy all the way up through. And then we are to the next platform. Then we have to recall these, it's like clocks, like a clock almost, but one's going in the opposite direction. Just do a recall when they're together, basically, so they spin at the same time. And that's it. We are at the last shrine. Once we're done with that shrine, our next step is to go back to the castle, which pretty much happens the exact same way we did last time. So go outside of this cave, and you're going to see more of these wings, which end up being exactly the same way that we did it last time. So this is where we're at right now. We're just going to be flying down all the way to the castle, and I'm just going to skip over this part because it's exactly the same. So jump off of them, go into the water, swim across the lily pads and everything, and climb back up into the temple. Once we're here, we're going to use recall to change these little cogs again to get back up to where that door was at. And this time you'll see that the statue is glowing. We can talk to her. We're getting a heart piece for this. And then we are going to go try to open the door again. So we're going to open the door and it's going to slowly start taking our hearts away. And you'll see we can open it just barely. We barely have enough. Now we're going to have another little cutscene where we talk to him about his arm and yada, yada, yada. Go outside and you are going to kind of do a combination of dropping down on platforms, using ascend to get back up, dropping down on platforms, using ascend to get back up until you get the whole way to the edge, where you're going to see a little table with a glowing light. You're going to talk to that, see a flashback with Zelda, and then you are going to be able to see Hyrule down below. So we are going to jump over the edge and down into Hyrule. And that gets us off of these islands, which is super duper exciting. So congratulations if you've made it to this point. You have made it off of the Great Skye Islands and down into Hyrule. I really hope that this video has been helpful to you. Please give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button for more awesome tutorials, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye guys!